What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and today we are going to talk about the updated betting odds in the presidential race between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And we're also going to talk about how Trump's signing of the 4 executive orders that he signed yesterday will affect the 2020 presidential race, because these are huge executive orders that, if we were talking about in the normal scope of politics and news, they would get a ton of coverage. But now, with everything from the college football season potentially getting canceled to schools reopening, I think that these executive orders might be kind of put under the rug more than they would be if they were if this was kind of the normal presidential election cycle. So let's kind of dive into what the executive order is talking about. So Trump signed these at his golf club in New Jersey with some of his fans. And the first thing it does is unemployment relief, which I think is pretty interesting. The Democrats have been lobbying for the $600 a week, which some Republicans have said that, look, I mean, this is the $600 a week is if you work 40 hours a week at $15 an hour. So you would get the same if you worked 40 hours a week with $15 an hour, which is a lot higher than what a lot of people actually get. So what some Republicans are arguing, which I think has some merit, is that, look, this is going to disincentivize people from getting back to work. Whether we actually see this in the reality, it's hard to know, but some economists are predicting that. So what Trump did is he lowered it from $600 to $400 a week. He did a payroll tax cut, which I'll kind of get into more later. But essentially, this just cuts tax and kind of delays it until after 2020 into 2021. So Trump is actually protecting homeowners and renters from evictions. So, I mean, this is definitely, I would say, a popular proposal. And even though Nancy Pelosi is probably not going to agree with how Trump went about this move using the executive orders, it is unlikely that she is going to kind of try to repeal it just because it's going to be very popular. And lastly, Trump did said that there's not going to be any interest on student loan payments, so a lot of students will be happy. So let me kind of explain how this is part of Trump's strategy. So in the past, I've said that, like, look, Biden has some advantages. Clearly, that's why he's up in the betting odds and up in the polls. But Trump, I think, has a lot more potential to improve right now. So the coronavirus has really devastated the Trump campaign and his kind of his ability to kind of campaign the normal sense, and has made his betting odds plummet and him plummet in the polls, which obviously is not the most important outcome of the coronavirus. But just for the sake of this channel and talking about politics, I kind of want to focus on this. But one kind of the thing that I think that a lot of people aren't accounting for is that Trump has the power of the incumbent president. So he has a lot more power than Biden has, because Biden doesn't hold any power politically right now. He's just a candidate for president. But Trump has the power of the presidency, and Trump used these powers of his presidency to yesterday. And some of his Republican colleagues, for example, Ben Sasse, disagreed with this. But let me explain what Trump is going to do. So in Congress, there's deadlock between the Democrats and Republicans on the next stimulus package. For example, what is the unemployment relief going to be like? And the Republicans are trying to spin this against the Democrats that, oh, they're blocking aid. And then the Democrats are saying that the Republicans are saying that they aren't that normal people aren't hardworking, and that they would rather not work than like get their stimulus checks. So there is a complete deadlock, and how Trump is trying to frame this is that, look, Congress, you can't trust them. They aren't going to get anything done. I'm the person that can do it. I am. You might not like me, but whether you like me or not, I'm getting the job done. I'm getting money in your hands, and that is what we need right now. We need someone that just kind of forgets the Washington swamp BS, and I'm going to get it done. Because the 4 things that he had in this executive order are pretty popular. Saying that we're going to ban evictions and rentals Maybe the landlords aren't going to be happy because they are not going to get their money. However, there's a lot more people who rent houses and a lot more people who would be at threat of being evicted than the people who kind of own the people. So in terms of getting votes, if there is an impending election, this is a pretty good strategy. And see, Nancy Pelosi, who's the head of the Democratic Party in the House, of course, does not like that Trump bypass Congress, and people are saying that this is the behavior of an authoritarian president. And I mean, this is definitely unprecedented because typically these things like the unemployment benefits, all these things that were included in the past stimulus bills would be Congress's job, and typically, as it says in the Constitution, that Congress gets a lot more authority than President Trump does as the president of the United States. Barack Obama was the first president that used the executive order on DACA. And John Roberts actually upheld the DACA decision when Trump tried to repeal it. So it kind of gave John Roberts inadvertently gave more power to the executive order. So what Trump's argument is right now is that, look, I've been given the power to do this, so I'm going to use it. Even though Trump railed on President Obama when he did use these executive orders when he was president. So from a conservative perspective, if like just completely ignoring who these people are, you probably would not be in favor of using the executive order because it makes the power of the presidency a lot higher. And also, I mean, while you're happy that the unemployment benefits are at 600, I mean, I don't know if Republicans in Congress would even want to see the unemployment benefits as high as 400. So it'll be really interesting to see how Republican lawmakers respond to this. But as we've seen in the past week, Trump's betting odds have risen, and we see this across the board. So if we looked at Predictit, Donald Trump was as low as 38 cents. And Biden was as high as 63 cents. Right now, we see Biden at 57 cents and Trump at 45. So Trump has improved 7 percentage points in terms of the betting odds, and Biden has declined 6. And so we see this here. We see this here. One place where we don't necessarily see that is in the models. I've looked at several models, and ever since I would say like mid-July and in June, we've seen that kind of that's kind of stagnated. So we see that Trump has declined a lot since May, going into June and July. But since July started, we've seen these numbers start to kind of flatline, which is good in the sense that Trump's chances aren't declining super high as they were. However, Trump will definitely want to see his numbers improve as we get closer to November 3rd. But as I've said in the past, I think that the models and the polls are kind of lagging indicators. I think that the betting odds, and I've done previous videos on this, are better indicators as this goes. So one thing that I'll be really interested looking at to see if Trump's strategy, his kind of new campaign strategy of signing executive orders bypassing Congress, is effective. I definitely think this could be an effective strategy, especially if Trump somehow signs an executive order that gets money in people's hands. I think indirectly with the unemployment relief and with the payroll tax cuts, he is making this argument that, look, I'm making you richer by not having you pay as many taxes. People might see through this. However, when you get money in your hands, when your bank account is becoming bigger, it is hard not to kind of attribute that to the current president. So we will see how this goes. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Thanks, guys.